Matt and I are gonna go check out this location with the BIRCHEM family, where witnesses saw a Sasquatch take down a deer and drag it away. Well, that's really unusual. I want to learn more about how Sasquatches hunt deer. This is definitely a spot that we need to check out. Hello.
Whoa. Hello. Howdy.
Hello.
Thanks for meeting us here.
You're welcome.
On this blustery day.
Yeah.
Well, here's the lake. Where were you? Where was the critter?
So we were at that house across the lake.
Okay, and what did you see? Start from the very beginning.
My brother Isaac and I went down into the swamp. We saw a deer. We watched it for a minute. When we saw the creature run down, it grabbed a deer and strangled it, and then it dragged it back up the hill.
Ran back to the hill, dragging behind it, going right back up.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that on top of the hill over there?
It's all county land, and there's never been anything back there.
Okay. What details of this thing could you see from that distance?
Well, it looked like a man, only huge and black everywhere.
We thought it was a man chasing after the deer at first, but the way that it handled the deer,
And the size.
the size, wasn't really a struggle. It was just on top of it.
And it didn't look like the deer was actually trying to run away?
No.
It was almost like, you know, a deer caught in headlights.
I think it was stunned. See, deer have pretty fast reflexes, and Cliff, I'm hearing this, and something comes to mind that when they told the story at the town hall that I'm thinking, zapping. Like, in fact, as if that thing was disabled. They can emit something like infrasound that'll stun something temporarily. And there's other animals that can do that. What scientists discovered is that tigers in India have the ability to stun prey that they're about to pounce on using subsonic sounds, infrasound. And it has an effect on muscles and the nervous system of something standing in front of it that can disable it long enough for the tiger to get at it. And I'm thinking the Bigfoot in this case may have used that ability to stun this deer, making it easier to pounce on it. I just find it unusual that it would be there and it wouldn't try to run away unless it was temporarily stunned. But even from that distance, so I'm looking, you are by the house over there.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
you
actually feels shorter from there to here than
Yeah,
it
you can
does from
see
here to
more.
there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you hop over there and let's check it out?
Yeah, I'll drive over there and have a look. Isaac, you want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
You guys are having ongoing activity, but what about your neighbors?
A lot of them are getting tired of these things coming around on their property.
Now, you're Ryan, Brenda's son, is that
Yes,
correct?
yeah.
You've been having some activities too, and you saw one? Is that what I understand?
Yes, I saw one just down at the river.
What happened?
We had a couple of family members. They would always make fun of us about having sightings down here of any sort. So I took my cousins down to a good clearing next to the river. We sat back to back, facing each way. After 2.5 hours, I hear a tree branch break about 5 yards in front of me. So I shined my light, and I saw something just stood up like it was laying down in the brush. And then it turned away from us, and it ran down the trail, and I watched it with the flashlight, and it took off down the trail that we came in, like it was running like a monkey.
On all fours?
On all fours.
Did it ever get up, like it was almost all the way up
Yeah.
and then drop down?
Yeah. I could say it was about my height. And it freaked me out. My heart was like pounding.
Great camping spot you have. Hey, nice to meet you, Renee.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Well, I understand why you camped here. This is beautiful.
It is a beautiful spot. We were camped here, overlooking the lake. It was at a BFRO expedition. We had hiked about a half a mile from base camp, and I was actually knocking on tree trunks and getting responses. The responses actually led us to this bluff overlooking the lake, which is why we determined to camp out for the night.
Sounds like a bad horror film.
We strung the hammocks. It was about 1 a.m. when we finally went to bed. Set the recorder at the base of my hammock with the stereo mic. Slept till morning. Didn't hear anything until I heard the recording the next day.
It was as if it was deliberately stomping loud, which I've heard Sasquatches do as they're walking around trying to let you hear them.
Yes.
It's like a way to kind of intimidate, say, hey, there's something big here. The same reasoning for like snapping a branch.
Listening to Doug tell his story, I'm glad we came out here. A Bigfoot stalking a campsite? These are the kind of cases we need to check out.
Because they'll happen again in the future, and they provide opportunities potentially to get footage that's very hard to get. When there's a Bigfoot, usually it's just running away. For one to stick around for a while that close to you, yeah, that's the opportunity to get some sustained footage. We want stalking, intimidating squatches, and we're hoping we can get them to do that to us while we've got the right equipment to document it visually.
Well, we're here in the spot. I'd love to listen to this and get a little bit of your feedback.
Well, it's definitely stepping on brush, breaking little branches or something, almost as if it knows that even if people are there sleeping, they're almost incapacitated. Like, even if they get scared, they're not gonna get up and jump up, you know. Takes humans a while to kind of stir and get up, and he would have ample time to get away.
I hope Matt and I can win this competition, but I must remain skeptical. When people are out looking for Bigfoot and they record these strange footfalls and say, that's a Bigfoot, to me that screams Bigfoot on the brain. Craig seems like an honest guy, and this location is remote, but I need a little more information to persuade me why he feels this area is squatchy.
So you guys had been down at this base camp, hiking through the backcountry. What kind of other animal signs did you see? Elk, deer, bear, etc.?
We saw elk. Actually, we ran into a large clear cut where there were piles of bones we found. Looked like deer bones, skeletons.
After coming up here, talking to Doug, seeing this area, I'm knowing we got to do a night investigation here to see if there's anything still around.
How you doing?
Good.
So, you are Liz, and you must be Amos. You're the ones who got the photos. And was it right here?
Right where the brush stops, on the right of that wide expanse.
So what caught your attention about these tracks if they weren't human? Because superficially, Sasquatch tracks and human tracks look alike. What made you think these weren't human?
Some of the tracks were probably at least this big. You're just like, are you kidding me? And the toes.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that made me notice them too, is the fact that who in the world be walking around in bare feet or even a blown out flip-flop
and with the,
in the mud.
Smaller tracks, who would let their child do that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely a really interesting track find. I know it's under snow and stuff, but I'd kind of like to go poke around and see what it's like exactly where you found them.
Sure, let's go.
Unfortunately, some time has passed since they found those tracks. When they were there, it was muddy substrate. Right now, we've got a couple feet of snow.
Wow. Whoa. There's holes in the floor.
There's holes in them there.
So we won't be able to match the conditions, but at least we can get an idea of how difficult it would be to make a hoax at this spot.
You guys, hold up a second.
Hold up, slow down.
Yeah. Amazing.
I like it better looking from the car, though.
And you're saying this is one of the very few big open areas around here?
In this area, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if they were gonna want to watch for elk, deer, or whatever else, then this would be a natural place they'd want to keep an eye on, which means they wouldn't be that far away.
Based on what I know about Sasquatch footprints, there are telltale little bits here that I'm looking at that clearly indicate Sasquatch and not human. The larger print here is kind of just messy, you know, which I kind of like, because if you're gonna fake prints, usually they make them really crisp and clean. And in fact, wooden cutouts generally leave crisp, clean impressions. This is by no means crisp nor clean. This smaller print, though, is by far the most impressive. This feature right in the mid part of the foot. It's commonly known as the mid-tarsal ridge. Sasquatches, they have a flat foot, and they've actually retained a lot of flexibility in the mid part of their foot. So this ridge here is a product of that flexible part of their foot. As their heel lifts up and pushes away, it raises a mound of dirt in the mid part of the footprint, and that's exactly what you see here. Now, I don't know how much studying of Sasquatch footprints you've done, but to fake this, you would have to do quite a bit just to understand how the mechanics of the foot interact with the ground.
Well, you guys picked a great spot. It's beautiful out here.
I think a lot of people would be surprised how close Sasquatches actually live in very populated areas like Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, it's not in an area you would think that this sort of thing would be going on, but it's very wild right back up there. It's wilderness.
Well, in regards to recordings, what else happened around this particular area that brought you here?
Well, there had been historically a lot of sightings. A highway patrol officer several years prior saw one crossing up at Echo Summit, and also a lot of broken trees in the area as well.
We were very keyed in on that.
Snapped,
well,
twisted.
one was even taken and snapped around another, like bent around. And that was near where we were camping.
Did you notice any deer sign? A lot or almost none? What was the amount of deer sign tracks, scat, etc.?
We were seeing a lot of deer sign.
We were seeing a lot of deer sign. Yeah. There's bear up here, too. I've seen several bear up here.
Okay, let's listen to this.
Yeah.
That is a very impressive sound.
I've never heard a coyote do that.
No, that was no coyote.
I've known Bob for years. He's a lifetime outdoorsman and hunter, and he lives here on the western slopes of the Sierra Nevadas. He's lived his whole life out in the woods. He's encountered every kind of animal you can encounter in the western United States, and he knows exactly what they sound like. If there's anyone that knows what they're hearing out in the woods, it's Bob Strain.
It stood out from what we were hearing, because we were hearing coyotes at 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, and didn't hear that at those times.
Was it significantly louder than the other coyotes you heard?
Yes, yes it was. And the coyotes would usually respond to it. It would scream, a long scream, and then they would set the coyotes off again.
I approach each situation not taking a side, and I would hope that the guys would do the same. I can't rule out that that isn't the sound of a coyote or a siren off in the distance being manipulated by the canyon walls. These are the types of obvious explanations that we can't ignore.
You guys got this recording in this area, and there's reports a few miles this way and just over the hill this way. I think they got a Sasquatch there. Bob and Tom did say that they heard coyotes in the same general area as this really high-pitched siren-like scream. Well, that doesn't make it more likely that it's coyotes, because coyotes and Sasquatches are often heard in the same area. And maybe it's because they would both be going after the same types of food. They'd be going after deer. That tells me this is the perfect place to do our first night investigation.
Well, we can tell it was a male because it's got male pattern baldness.
From those movies, documentaries in the 70s, I remember seeing both of these things.
It kind of demystified the subject for people outside the country, because then there was some physical evidence showing that they existed and that they were flesh and blood creatures.
To see something that we've been seeing since we were children is in books and in movies is a powerful thing for us.
In 2011, what was supposed to be the original finger was tested by the Royal College of Surgeons, and it came back as human. Do they believe that the Yeti is a real animal, flesh and blood?
We
have similar beliefs.
When I asked the monk how he felt, he held to their beliefs that they believed this was from a Yeti. It seems there's always an answer, and yet they can't provide real evidence.
It's so big. How could that be human?
And it's not even unanimous that was human hand. There's other anthropologists that look at it and said the phalanges of the three that were never touched much more resemble a gorilla, where they're broad and flat, than a human. When you look at how small the Nepalese people are, look how big that hand is. There's no question in my mind we're not looking at a human hand here. I mean, I put my hand up next to it, it's twice as big as my hand, and I'm twice as big as almost all the Nepalese people. It's from a Yeti, period.
So this is the wood pile, and we had a big bonfire going 35 feet from that tree. We were roasting marshmallows and hot dogs. Every now and then, I would leave the firelight and go and scan the tree line. In the viewfinder, I could see a horizontal bar of light. But I didn't think anything of it because, of course, I was looking for something upright. So it wasn't until I looked at all my footage that I said, what's that? And I noticed that the arm was moving. After that, a friend of mine tweaked up the contrast just a little bit, and all of a sudden, the two eyes popped out. I think it was, in effect, embracing the wood pile. It was large enough to get around the whole pile and to peek through on his belly.
Chris claims not only does he see a Bigfoot arm in this video, but eyes as well. I've looked over this video numerous times, and I think that might be a bit of a stretch. What he thinks are eyes could easily be another animal more likely found in these woods. Plus, the wood pile is tiny. An animal that large would radiate a lot of heat.
My thinking is that he peeked at us through that opening there, because we were having fun, we were making jokes and laughing and singing and stuff, so it really seemed to attract his attention.
Bigfoots know that they're 8 feet tall, therefore they're easily seen. So the Bigfoots very often, in my opinion, go down on all fours. They do a lot of belly crawling, kind of like a sniper sneaking up to its prey, or someone trying to stay out of that same sniper's sights. Okay, Bobo. We want to see what kind of sniper or a Sasquatch Bobo would make, so we're going to put him in the same position to see how he compares.
So this arm would be over here.
Put it nice and out at about a 45-degree angle or so, as far out as you can.
My arm's not long enough. I got long arms for my size, and if I can't do it, you know, you're pretty much starting to rule out humans.
It's just so amazing because somebody as big as you being able to really hide well behind that wood pile just by being in the right angle.
Having had lots of experience spying on campfires in the dark, yes. It was harder than you think to keep your head straight and put your arm up, your arm over here while you're on your belly. You know, you could do it, but it wasn't the most natural position for a human. But for a squatch with its longer arms, it could get down there, be comfortable, and still be unseen.